kind of thing. I mean, Elvis, John Lennon, rock and roll's been evil for a long time, and just Marilyn Manson was the new standard bearer.
And it had swiftly come to the point where an artist's arrest for obscenity, blasphemy, or whatever is like it's a battle scar. It's a badge of honor. You know, it's shown how, because the worst possible thing that can happen to an artist like Manson is to be accepted and endorsed by the mainstream. But of course, the mainstream that he was fighting against, the Christian right, the conservative right, and so forth, were generally too dumb to work out that every time they reacted, they created another 1,000 Manson fans.
If America's religious rights were concerned about Marilyn Manson, then what the singer was about to do would truly appall them.
Satanism is a repudiation of belief. It's not a repudiation of God because he doesn't exist. It's a repudiation of Christianity because it does.
In October 1994, Manson went to meet Anton LaVey, high priest and founder of the Church of Satan. Started in the mid-1960s by LaVey and often mistaken for devil worship, Satanism is more practical philosophy than a religion. After meeting with LaVey, Manson became a reverend of the church and a vocal advocate of its philosophy.
I know Manson was reading the Satanic Bible when I knew him, but I thought it was silly. I was like, what is this? You gotta be kidding me. Come on. So I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. And he used to try to get me to read it. And, you know, after I left the band, he was still into it, and I heard he was going to, like, met Anton and was into the church, and I still thought it was completely ridiculous. But then I read it. I actually sat down and I figured, well, I want to know what he's thinking. You know, I just want to kind of know, like, why he reads this. So I figured you really can't judge anybody until you've, like, walked in their shoes. So I picked it up and I read it. And it was cool. It's not even like a Bible. It's just kind of like a philosophy. It's almost like rehashed, like Nietzsche, Darwinism, you know, survival of the fittest, you know, give love to people who deserve it.
Explaining Satanism in a brief and accessible fashion is difficult. It's a living, breathing creed, and like anything that actually has any validity, it's fucking complicated. But there are various different ways of describing it depending on who you're speaking to. So, for example, you could say that while Christianity likes to pretend it's copywritten things like compassion, not murdering people, or worshipping their calves or whatever it is you're not supposed to do, what it really did was it deified three things. It deified obedience, abstinence, and ignorance.
Christianity is a social cancer. So the philosophy is to identify the cancer and eliminate however possible. And being as most Satanists are very creative people, the best way to do that is through culture, through arts, through science, etc. So we see Christianity as in the way of progress of the human race.
Which Satanism regards as being the important things that a person should live up to. It's independence of mind, it's self-indulgence, and it's individualism. It's curiosity. All of these things are embodied within the concept of Satanism. Another way of putting it is that there are only two sins in Satanism. Those sins are stupidity and cowardice. If you could remove those from human affairs, then all the problems would be solved.
Modern Satanism is an attack, an affront on consumerism, basically, the herd mentality, where as an American, I see the culture basically is targeting the middle of the road. The dumb people make better consumers. So the application of Satanism in the arts and aesthetics is attack on that. It's a survival thing, because not everybody thinks Madonna and Spielberg are the highest equivalent of the human imagination. Because those that have imagination think that there's a lot more to it.
Smells Like Children's the second major release from Manson, and in many respects, as he himself has confessed on an occasion or two, it's a fucking mess. It's an EP, it's got bits and pieces of what sounds like pranks performed while sort of out of their heads on something or other. It's got some covers, it's got some remixes. Basically, it looks like the kind of album, or EP indeed, that a band releases when they're on the way out, trying to get out of a contract, or just desperately need to raise some cash when the creative juices aren't flowing anymore. The other side to this, however, is that one of those covers was, of course, Sweet Dreams.
Well, we weren't quite ready to put together a second record. And everyone, as far as the label and management and all, felt that we should do more live dates. But we needed a break, so we took a break and we went down to New Orleans to record with Trent Reznor again. And that's when we put together the EP. Since we weren't ready for a full second record, we put together the EP, Smells Like Children, which featured Sweet Dreams. And Sweet Dreams, we had done a couple times locally in South Florida, but or maybe I'm not sure. Either we did it a couple times locally, or we only did it at the Portrait release party. But either way, it was something that we really felt good about. And you know, when you pick the right cover, it has sometimes. When the right band picks the right cover, it can be real magic.
Manson made Sweet Dreams his own. I mean, the first thing to say is the original's very strong, powerful song. It's a good piece of work by Annie Lennox and Eurythmics and whoever else. However, one of the things Manson does with it is the minute he's giving his twist on it, he doesn't have to fuck with the vocals or the lyrics. He just distorts it almost by inflections and by his own appearance, to the point where suddenly you see, well, this song's a bit twisted and kind of, you know, scary, and it's about sort of stalking and how horrible love can be. Whereas you hear Annie Lennox singing it and it's all more upbeat, it's kind of wistful. And one thing Manson seldom is wistful.
So a lot of people would buy Smells Like Children, and there's a couple forgettable cuts on it, but that's really what propelled us for